I'll say, I have nothing special to do. Well, I'll take it over. So the bramble grew and grew and grew and strangled the whole forest. And that's what government's doing today. And police. And, incidentally, the military.
Stay tuned, we take a quick break, and we'll get to part 2 of tonight's lecture from Alan Watts, Drug Abuse. And you can write to us for more information here at WFMU, care of Alan Watts, P.O. Box 2011, Jersey City, New Jersey 07303. Be back in a second. Joe Frank is at 7 o'clock tonight, folks. Stay tuned.
Dr. Watts, you mentioned that the drug problem should be taken out of the hands of the police.
Yes.
And I agree that laws will only affect the behavior, not the attitude of a person. Whose hands do you think it should be put into?
The hands of physicians. It's a health problem. Just like if it would be tuberculosis or leprosy or what have you.
Do you feel that the drug problem in the United States is on such a larger scale that it couldn't be handled the same way the British handled them?
Well, I think it could be handled that way.
Think it could?
Yes. I mean, it would mean a bigger organization of clinics. Mm-hmm. But I think that's the way to go about it. Now, part of the reason for there being a drug problem is a failure of religion. It used to be said, what this country needs is a good 5-cent cigar. I would say what this country needs is a credible religion. Also one that does something that none of the religions, standard brand religions, are doing at the moment, you see. What they do is all talk. You go to a church service and what happens? You spend a long time telling God what to do as if you didn't know. And then a preacher gets up and tells you what to do. As if, you could just do it like that. Be unselfish. Yeah. What? Why do you want to be unselfish? Obviously, because you want to have a better opinion of yourself, which is, of course, selfish. There's no way of making yourself unselfish on purpose. It's like saying, you must love me. So, all right. So I'm married for some time, and my wife says to me, "Oh, darling, do you really love me?" Well, I say, I'm trying my best to do so. So there's no point in telling people what to do if they don't have the power to do it. And in order that they have the power to do it, you've got to change their state of consciousness. And what does that mean? It means overcoming the sense of alienation between the ego and the rest of the universe, so that you feel one with nature and with society, instead of cut off. Now, certainly psychedelic chemicals do exactly that. And of course, sometimes that is terrifying to people, because, say under LSD, it's very easy indeed to get the impression that what you do and what happens to you are the same process. Varied. Well, that can be scary. But when you suddenly find that there's just a happening going on, you say, who's in charge around here? So you may think also that you're God, that you're doing everything. But that's a terrible responsibility, to be God. There was a young man who turned himself into the Los Angeles police on a bad trip with a note which said, please help me, signed Jehovah. Or else you may think the opposite, that you're simply a puppet with no influence on anything. Well, these are two ways of looking at the same state of consciousness. And when this happens to a person who doesn't know anything about the psychology of religion, they are as scary as all get out. But when a person does have some comprehension, this is a surrogate mystical experience. It's like swimming with water wings, and which he finds enormously interesting. And so it is really, for religious reasons, fundamentally, that people take consciousness-changing drugs. Same goes for alcohol. Someone might once remarked in England, on Sunday mornings, there's more Christianity in the pub than in the church. Human conviviality, that is to say. So, there are so many different angles to work on this, but the chaplains will never help in the problem so long as they're just moralizers. Our religion has to do something far more effective than moralizing. Now, come, what do you feel about this?
The chaplain?
All right, about the chaplain. Are there any chaplains here?
One right here.
You are.
Right by your right side.
So the country needs a credible religion. Is that possible?
I don't know why not. It wouldn't have to be organized necessarily. But the country is, in fact, trying to work one out.
Dr. Watts, doesn't the country have a credible religion?
No. I don't think so. I don't know what it would be. I mean, it has two kinds of spoiled Christianity. And Judaism, which for all practical purposes God is grandfather. And not to mention Mama. And I mean, I'm not talking about Hasidic mystics and fascinating people of that kind. That doesn't affect the country at large at all.
I guess what I'm saying is that what I would say is that sure, observably, in many respects, maybe we don't have a credible religion.
Mm-hmm.
But in reality, there is a credible religion. It's there.